Welcome to Inside the Sound Chamber. My name is Don Simmons. Very excited to have an amazing guest, an amazing sound professional, Joshua Leeds. Joshua Leeds is a sound researcher, music producer, and educator, one of the few published authorities in the emerging field of psychoacoustics, the study of the effects of music and sound on the human nervous system, and bioacoustics, how human sound affects other living beings. He is the author of The Power of Sound, which in my opinion is a must-have book in your library. If you're even sound curious, you need to have that book. Sonic Alchemy, which is published in 1997. Through a Dog's Ear, I'm going to stop right here. Through a Dog's Ear. I don't have a dog, but it made an effect on me. So that says something about me, I think. Amazing. Through a Dog's Ear. And his application-specific soundtracks are used in homes, clinics, classrooms around the world. He presents seminars internationally. I will also say The Power of Sound, I looked up on Amazon. It's the number 12, listed number 12 in the New Age music books. And so it is truly a phenomenal book to have. And so I want to welcome Joshua Leeds. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Don. My pleasure to be here.
You know, we're really excited for the 2024 Wave Makers Conference, and you're going to be our keynote speaker. You're doing so much fantastic things around the world in the world of music and sound, especially in sound. I also want to mention the book you've got coming up, I believe. Sound Works on a Hot Rock. Is that right?
Sound Work on a Hot Rock, yes.
Sound right. Tell me just that title. Where is that coming from?
Oh, it's coming from the part of me that likes to have fun and likes to be serious at the same time. Sound work to me is a big tent for purposeful, intentional music and sound. And it includes, for me, everything from academics and scientists to music therapists to the wackiest of sound workers. And there are all kinds of things in between. And a hot rock is, for me, the jargon for what is it like to be living on a big rock, the third rock from the sun, this planet Earth, as it's getting hotter and hotter. And so it really is about what is the needed sound work during times of global warming, or what is sound therapy about during times of change?
That's really massive. And as have talked before, we are on that precipice of major change in the world. And, you know, moving from where we've been to where we're going, you have a term, sonic activism. And your presentation that you're giving for the conference, I believe, sort of works into that. Sound work in the 21st century, invitation to move our sound practice into the new century. Can you talk a little bit about that presentation and how it's evolving for you, and what would our attendees get from this conference?
Well, I can speak about what they will hopefully get from the conversation, the dialogue, the speech, the keynote that I'm honored to be giving. It's really one of the first times that I'm stepping out since COVID and walking into a room filled with a lot of people. And the room is ostensibly filled with people that have got a great interest in how they use intentional, purposeful, therapeutic music and sound. And the question that I really am grappling with and thinking about for the last number of years since COVID actually is, how do we show up as sound workers in a time of great change? Because the 21st century, I don't think is going to be the placid, calm time that we basically had in the 20th century. 1999 is only 25 years ago, and yet things have really changed. And in the next 25 years, we see how fast 25 years go. And in the next 25 years, they're going to change even more. And so the question that I'm bringing is, from a healer's vantage point, how do we show up now? What's called for and needed in this new century? What is also called for and needed when we have got all of these extraordinary technological innovations that are coming our way to help us to do our work bigger, better? Not that bigger and better is necessarily better, but to do it in a way that is more effective and in a way that will allow for, I think, stronger, longer lasting healing to take place. We're at a perfect storm right now, I think. And there's a great need. And we know as sound workers, as musicians, we know that sound and vibration has a extraordinary impact on the primary pulse systems of the human and other animal nervous system. And so now we've got all these other techniques to use. Some of them are so extraordinary, they're still in the laboratory. But in the next 5 or 10 years, they're going to be rolling out. And we have the opportunity to be able to work with all kinds of new technologies that are based upon us getting real-time biofeedback, real-time information back from the people we're working from. And going back to your question about sonic activism, in terms of how do we show up not just for people, but how do we show up for communities that are in trauma? You think about Lahaina. Lahaina burned down. That must have been a really, really traumatic thing. How do we as sound workers show up so it's not just about a relaxation, but it's actually about some kind of a transformative, if I can use that word, because that's a pretty loaded term. But how do we help people whose nervous systems have been tremendously impacted by the things that are taking place in the world? How does sound work against the backdrop of disruption?
That makes perfect sense, you know, and I'm pulled into the thoughts of the ancients used sound, the shamans or the, indigenous healers use sounds like the sound of an animal or the sound of wind to really disrupt the nervous system in the thought process of their own people to be able to create a change. Using this ancient wisdom, we'll say, now bringing in modern technology is what you're saying.
Yes, that's correct. And it's not about replacing ancient wisdom. We love the spiritual awareness and memories that anybody who's called to work in this field has. We know sound and vibration has been powerful forever. We know that everything is familiar, relates to it. We don't have to really convince anybody about it, because inherently in the nervous system, in the human nervous system, we know that vibration is strong, and we know that it's omnipresent, and we know that we can impact one vibration with another vibration through resonance. But what's new and very exciting and right on time is many of the tools that are being made possible through technology. And so to be able to combine these sensors that give us information with what it is that we already know, to me, is about soft touch and hard touch. And it's about how do we put them together to do the best that we can do.
We really are on the precipice. We're on the edge of this new technology, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Much of it. I mean, I was just reading not too long ago about a technology that is called sonogenetics. Now, that really caught my attention.
I bet it did.
Sonogenetics. I just went, I mean, we all know about AI, but we don't know half of our, we don't know 90% of what AI is going to bring us, these search engines on steroids that help us to really understand and become more scholarly in our awareness of what and how it is that vibration in music, vibration just in sound, pre-music, whatever it happens to be. How do these tools impact the nervous system? And in sonogenetics, they talk about it being a technique that uses sound waves to control specific cells in living organisms, showing promise in neuroscience and medical applications. And I'm just going, boy, now that sounds like a very, very interesting application of vibration.
Yeah.
So how are we going to use these things that are not 100 years away? Maybe they're 10 years away. Maybe they're 10 minutes away. How will we welcome them, bring them into our toolkit of sound work in a way that makes us stronger, more effective sound workers at a time when there's so much need? If you just look at what's taking place in mental health in this time, there's so much need. And we're a great piece of that solution.
You know, talking about the evolution of where we've been to where we're going, there's this sort of energy that as we think it, we become it. And you, I will say, extremely visionary in this ability to take in new information, being able to present with others, to be able to step into it. Reminded of Roger Bannister. I don't remember the full details, but he was the first person that ran the 5-minute mile. Nobody could do it. Nobody could do it. Then suddenly he did it. Now everybody's doing it. And so we are on that precipice as we're breaking these barriers. And I do believe this is an important time to be a sound ambassador, sound therapist. Let me ask you, what brought you into the world of sound? Where was your path that brought you to sound?
It's a very simple path. It essentially is about following my heart, following my spirit, and saying, I love music and I love sound. And how can I utilize these things outside of the world of entertainment? How can I have a deeper impact? And from that, I got chewed up in Hollywood. And before I got spit out of Hollywood because I didn't want to play that Hollywood game, I had the wonderful opportunity, Don, to work with Louise Hay while she was still walking amongst us. And it showed me back in the 80s what it is that intentional music and sound could do in terms of the human nervous system. And from there, I have just continued to live a life of wonder, live a life of possibility, and live a life of desire to make a difference, and to make a difference with the tools and the toolkits that I bring. And so consequently, where I am at this time in our place, as on the third rock from the sun, is I'm saying, boy, the Beatles had it going on. Your dog has it going on. George Gershwin had it going on. Amadeus Mozart had it going on. And we have it going on in the world of sound work. And so I really hope that you'll come and join us for those 3 days in Sarasota, Florida in September. And let's yak about, let's chat, let's talk, let's listen. Let's bring our listening ears, our tomatis ears. Let's bring our shamanistic hearts. Let's bring our belief and understanding that all the tools that we need to make a difference, we have available to us. And let's make a difference. Let's get there and do something now, because the time is now.
Absolutely. So well said. Joshua, you really are the ultimate visionary in the world of sound, and I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to this conference, carrying this conversation even further on. For those who are thinking about coming, you definitely want to be here. You definitely want to hear Joshua Leeds. Joshua, thank you so much.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.